Hello and welcome, friends. Today we are going to discuss the remaining part of PRA, that is Pest Risk Analysis. The second stage, that is second part, that is in first or in previous video we discussed about the stage first, that is initiation. And in that initiation we discuss in brief, we discuss about the identification of the pest, then from which pathway that introduction of pest is done, and last one review policies, that is for control of that pest, have any or have there is use of previous phytosanitary policies, or if previous phytosanitary policies is not there, so we can implement or introduce the new phytosanitary policies for control of that introductory pest at the initial level. Then next part we discuss about stage second, that is risk assessment. After initiation, second stage is risk assessment. So how we have to do the risk assessment here? That risk assessment is categorized into 3 steps. In that, first step is pest categorization, second one assessment of probability of introduction of spread. That is, after categorization of pest, is there pest is able to spread, we have to assess that. And last one, the assessment of potential economic consequences. That means we assess if there is a introduction of pest is there any effect on the economic, or is there economic or environmental impacts of that pest is there, so we can assess that. So let us see one by one. So let us see that chart. Suppose we identify that potential quarantine pest here. Suppose that if you assess that potential quarantine pest is observed in initiation stage, so we can assess that quarantine pest either present in PRA areas or not. If that pest is not present in PRA areas, so we assess that is that pest or is that area or is that PRA area is suitable for further establishment of pest. If no, then stop the further process. If that area is suitable for the pest multiplication, then we assess that is that pest cause the economic loss, or is they having the economic importance. If after the introduction of that pest, if they do not cause any economic loss, then we stop the further process. The next, if that pest cause the economic loss, then we do the next process, that is they consider it as a quarantine pest, and then we do the or we evaluate the introduction potential of that particular pest. Then on other hand, if that pest or that quarantine pest present in PRA areas is present in PRA areas, so we assess that is there limited distribution in that areas. If the limited distribution, or if there is a limited distribution is there, if there a limited distribution is there, so we check that is there that pest is under the official control previously. If it is yes, so again we check that is there it having any economic importance, or is they cause any economic loss. If it is yes, the next it comes under that pest is considered as an again quarantine pest, and we do the next process, that is just we evaluate the introduction of potential of that pest. But if that no limited distribution of that identification of that pest is there, so we stop that further process. Then if that pest is not in under the control previously, so we check that have is there any economic importance or is there cause economic loss, and then if we found that is they having an economic importance, so we put under the official control of planned quarantine. So this is a brief about the flow chart of the present or what happens if the pest is present or absent in PRA areas. So next, in step first, pest categorization, we identify which quarantine pest is there. For example, citrus canker, papaya mosaic virus, potato mosaic virus, Panama wilt virus, all are called as the quarantine pest. So accordingly, we identify the quarantine pest. After that, we categorize the pest. Is that pest is occur during the pathway? And after that, identification and categorization of the pest, we prepare the data sheets just like this. The name, that is pest name, then pest establishment in PRA area, is there potential for significant loss here, or we can identify among the list of quarantine pest, we identify this is quarantine pest or not again for confirmation. So for example, pest 1, pest establishment in PRA area is feasible. That means there is that pest is present in that PRA areas, and if there is an occurrence or sudden spread of such a pest, so it causes significant loss. So this is called as an, yes, that is quarantine pest if it is in the list. Then second stage, similarly feasible, not significant. That means even though there is an occurrence or presence of quarantine pest, so it does not cause significant loss in terms of yield. Third one, not feasible, that is significant, but it is not quarantine pest. And fourth pest is feasible and significant. It is called as an here quarantine pest. So accordingly, we prepare the data sheet. So that sheet indicates whether the pest establishment in PRA areas is feasible, is they cause significant loss or non-significant loss, or it provides the information of whether it is in the list of quarantine pest or not. We confirm that with the help of that sheet. After the first step, that is pest categorization, next second step, that is probability of entry, establishment and spread of the pest. We assess the probability of entry, establishment and spread of the pest. In that, we assess the entry of pest, that is we discuss about from which pathway that pest is enter. If the more pathway for that pest is there, so there is a more chances for the entry of that particular pest. So we can assess that information, the probability of different pathway of entry of that pest. The next second one, assess the likelihood of establishment of pest after the entry. Then reproductive strategy, distribution in PRA area, adaptation, environmental suitability. That means we assess that after the entry of that pest through different pathway or single pathway, is there that pest is established in particular area. We assess the reproductive strategy or how the reproduction takes place. The next, the distribution of that pest in particular area. Then we collect the information or we assess the is their pest is adapted to that particular new area, or as they take the advantage of that environmental condition in that area. And last one, we assess the spread of potential of the pest. That means is their pest it's spread fastly within a particular short period of time. So in that second point, or in step second, we discuss about the from which pathway the pest is enter. Next one, after the entry of pest, we assess that Is their pest is established in that area? Is their pest is reproduced? Is their pest is adapted to that particular environment or that area? And after that establishment, is their pest is spread suddenly within that area or out of that area? So we assess all that point in step second. Then step third, potential economic importance. That means in previous we discussed about that entry, establishment and the spread of the pest. If the sudden spread of such a harmful pest is there within a short period of time, so we assess that is there any economic or environmental or social impact of that pest. It also includes the direct or indirect effect to the plants. We assess that the qualitative or quantitative measure of that impact, or is there loss of qualitative and quantitative. So in step third we assess all that points. That means assessment of economic consequences, that is effect. So what is the economic consequences or effect if there is an incidence or spread of such a harmful pest? So the effect, we assess that, or we assess the yield loss of that plant. Then is there a control cost if the population of such a pest is increased? So we assess that how much control cost is required. Then after post harvest, what is the disinfecting agent is used, what is the cost is required for that disinfestation. Then is there effect on domestic and international market or trade, is there effect on that environment and the human health. So we assess or we collect information or we think in all point of view in PRA. Then third stage, after second stage, third stage is pest risk management. In that we discuss about, we generate, evaluate and compare management option. That means when we do all that stages, that is stage first, stage second, the last stage is risk management. So in that we generate, evaluate and compare management option. That means the whatever the options of phytosanitary measures, that is chemical control, physical control, biological control, cultural control. Out of that control we have to select, on the basis of that a whole information we select the option. We can select the option either chemical or combination of chemical plus cultural, or combination of mechanical plus physical control measure for the management of disease on the basis of previous investigation. Then third one, next one is there, monitor and evaluate after implementation. That means after utilization of any control measure out of that different phytosanitary measures, so we can do the continuous observation of that management practices. Is there any control of that particular pest, whether that pest is controlled or not, or if it is controlled, so at what extent that pest is controlled, or what is the impact of that control on implementation. We can do that. Next, the conclusion of that pest risk assessment is, if the risk is acceptable, that means if you want that risk, that is high risk is there, or risk is acceptable, that means for example risk is acceptable, that means risk is controlled with the help of that utilization of control measure or by the utilization of phytosanitary measure. So we stop the PRA process, that is PRA is ends, we stop that process if the risk is acceptable. If the risk is unacceptable, so next PRA process will be continue. Then that means if the risk is unacceptable, so we identify the different option for the control of that particular pest which is not previously controlled. Then after identification of a new control or different control, then evaluate that options After identifying the different option, evaluate that particular option, is it better or not? And then after that evaluation of particular option of control measure, we select the appropriate new control measure. So while evaluating that different control measure, when the risk is unacceptable, then we consider all the points. That means we consider all pathway, that is that trade or traded plants or plant products we have to consider during export and import. Then we discuss about that natural spread of the pest is there or not, or through the natural or through the nature or through the natural way that pest is introduced or not, or through the human travelers that pest is introduced or not, through vehicle transport or associated material, planting material, through which that pest is enter or not. We have to consider all that points while implementation of that particular control measure. The next, we consider that identify point at which mitigation measures might to be applied. That means mitigation, that means that we have to take the action of reducing the severity of that pest. So at which mitigation or from, that means at which point we have to apply that control measure. That means during the entry of that, we have to during the entry of the pest, have we applied that mitigation measures, or during the during the establishment of pest, have we applied that mitigation measure, or to stop the spread of pathogen, have we applied the mitigation measure to stop the or to reducing the severity of that particular pest. We have to apply, or we have to know that where we have to, when we apply the mitigation measure. And then while application of that mitigation measure, certain points we have to come into the consideration, we have to take into consideration, that is to which whatever the mitigation measures is applied or control measure is applied, they should have effectiveness or efficient control measure we have to apply. And after that, considering all that point, we have to select the appropriate measures or appropriate control measures. Then come to the conclusion of stage 3, that risk mitigation measures have been identified, evaluated and selected. That means risk mitigation measure is identified, that means which control measure we have to use, we have to identify first. Then evaluate, is there efficient, effective, less cost, is there any impact on environment, on social or social impact or economic impact. And after that evaluation of certain points, then we have to select the suitable mitigation measure to reduce the risk of severity of that pest. So here we discuss, while during the PRA analysis, some crop is completely restricted from the different countries. So that PRA provides the information about the spread of such a pest. For example, of a pest or infected plant material. For example, crop cocoa is completely prohibited from West Indies, Africa, Sri Lanka. Then from crop coffee, that restricted from Sri Lanka, Africa, South America, to avoid the introduction of such a pest. So in that way, PRA helps to avoid the spread of that planting material that having spread the different pest into a different countries. Next, last we discuss about the International Plant Protection Convention. So it is sometime it is asked for short note. The philosophy behind the convention, that is IPPC, that is International Plant Protection Convention. What is the role of that IPPC in IPM or in PRA? So they helps if they provide the information about the, if the country should have established the appropriate infrastructure to protect from the introduction of new pest, So the introduction of such a pest is avoided, or the spread of such a pest or establishment of such pest is avoided if all the countries take the proper or adequate control measures. So that IPPC provides the basic rules and regulation to all plant quarantine stations and other countries to avoid the spread of such a exotic pest. Then the aim or purpose of IPPC is, again, the next aim or purpose of IPPC is to secure common and effective action to prevent the spread and introduction of pest of plants and plant products, and to promote appropriate measure for their control. That means, as we discussed previously, it provides the common and effective or strong control measure to avoid or spread the pest. That IPPC was exist in 1952 and it is modified in 1997. That is, certain changes was occurred at that time, and that changes is is used, or whatever the changes is made, that changes is in the 1997 is done. Then there are two kinds of pest in IPPC. Mostly that IPPC is conducted for the two kinds of the pest, that is quarantine pest and regulated or non-regulated non-quarantine pest. In quarantine pest, that is quarantine pest is nothing but a pest of potential economic importance to the area endangered thereby and not yet present there, or present but not widely distributed and being if officially controlled. That means if the pest is present in that area, or it is, even though it is present in area but not widely distributed, or even there is absence of that pest, but if there is a presence of pest in an area and it causes economic importance to that area, or it causes economic loss in that area, but even though it causes economic loss of that particular plant, but it is controlled, then it is called as a quarantine pest. That means the first thing is that pest is not present in an area, first possibility. Second one, even though there is a present, that pest is present in that area but limitedly distributed. And even though third one, even it is limitedly distributed but it causes economic impact on the plant, and it is controlled with the help of suitable control measure, then it is called as an quarantine pest. The next one is regulated non-quarantine pest. That is, it is a non-quarantine pest whose presence in plants for planting affect the intended use of those plants with an economically unacceptable impact, and which is therefore regulated within the territory of the importing contracting party. That means once there is an appearance of the pest on the plants, it causes heavy damage. That is, there is an unacceptable impact. That means if there is an appearance of such a pest, it causes heavy damage, near about 80 to 90% damage. So for that, all the countries that are comes together take a common decision for the control of that pest. That all countries come together and decide which management strategies is applied for the control of that pest to avoid the loss of that crop. So that is called as a regulated non-quarantine pest. So this is about IPPC, or brief introduction of about IPPC that helps the plant protection or Directorate of Plant Protection. They gives the guidance to the Directorate of Plant Protection. Then they give the guidance to the all insectary laboratories, then pathological laboratories for the for the management of pest or avoid the spread of that pest. So this is all about the IPPC. So in that lecture we discuss about the stage second, stage third, and the brief introduction about IPPC. If any difficulty in that topic, because that topic is new to all, so if any difficulty or queries in that topic, so please ask me on my personal WhatsApp number. Thank you.